This is part 2 for the Ruckus. These are all the parts from the front and rear drive, and they've been everything's been cleaned. Now, a regular mechanic won't do any of this. They'll just generally take the spring and the belt that are new, and they'll just replace them, but they won't do it the old school method. That's why I do. This has been cleaned and sanded. Glaze has been taken off. Glaze has been taken off these clutch pads. I would suggest a new clutch unit. You can get this from Bike Bandit or any Honda deal. They come just like that. Here is the old spring on the right, the center clutch spring, and the new one on the left, and you can see the height difference. And that may not mean a lot, but it does mean a lot in how well the back pulley clamshells work. These have all been cleaned. Your bearings are fine in this. This has been cleaned and sanded. Right here for your back, it's fine. On your front variator, everything looks good. Your stock, all these stock, they should be totally round. They're not. They get worn with age, and they begin to get squared off, and then they don't work right. They have to be round. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw in a set of my old Honda ones, and we'll put those in the variator right here. And we'll see how those work. And if those work good, then that's great. If they don't, then I'll put these back in, and you'll need to get some new ones at a further date. There's the new belt. This is the old belt. And you can see if you look, if you press the belt down, you can see all the cracks in between the belt. This is not good. And as you can see, the new belt here, put the new belt, you can see how everything works. So on your lower unit here, your front crankshaft's been cleaned up. All the whole unit down here has been cleaned up. Your rear axle's been cleaned up. I looked at it. I took all the dust and everything out of the let's see here, out of your cover, and that looks fine. So I'm going to rebuild the lower half here, and the next thing I'll do is take a look at the gas tank, see what we can do there. But I would suggest a new clutch and a new air filter, which is available at BikeBandit.com or any Honda dealership. Okay, let's get, I'll rebuild all this and we'll see what's going to happen here. Here's the variator in the front with the new belt and the rear pulley, rear clutch. Rear clutch has been rebuilt with a new spring, new belt put on. As you can see, all the internal belt face workings have all been cleaned up. All this is clean, everything's clean. Belt's tight. I'm going to put this cover on, then I'm going to take it for a ride and see if it works okay. Then I'm going to work on the gas. Okay, just keeping you updated on what we're doing here, Steve. Here's the fuel tank right here. One thing I did notice, you have to lift it up to look down and see what's going on here. Here's the filter right here. It doesn't look clogged. The one thing I did notice, I'll see if I can do this with one hand. If you pick the filter up like this, slightly, anyway, it'll start to leak. And it's either leaking in here or somewhere. I've got to pull the tank and take a look. Maybe there's a problem with the pump, which is right underneath this wire. And I'm going to take a look at that and see what's going on. This is the fuel pump and the fuel filter along with the gas line. This filter here is not stock. The stock fuel filter, since it has to go to a corner of the bike here, it has an outlet that comes out right out here. This one does not. I don't know if that's going to affect it or not, but what has affected this filter is that since it's a non-Ruckus filter, you see the very small hose that's connected here, but onto the pump itself, it's a very large hole. And you can see how this is exactly how it came off. So it wasn't put on there too well by whoever did it last. This goes in here, but this outlet here is way too small for this here, which when I lifted up the tank and went like this, it leaked fuel onto the ground. So I'm going to put a better seal onto this one and see what's going to happen. The next step is I've got the tank out with the fuel in it, and it's pretty straightforward, but I'm going to take the tank outside and take the cap off it, and I'm going to strain the fuel through this fine strainer and see if I can find anything in the tank. I'm still having a stuttering problem about 28 miles an hour, so if it's not the pump or the drive, then it's got to be, I believe, well, the carb is the next thing I'm going to take a look at. Okay, the gas tank on the Ruckus has been flushed with gas. This is what was found in it. This is a fine mesh paint filter that I use. Gas was put in the tank and shaken and shaken and shaken and shook out. This is the big particles that was in it, which shouldn't be causing a problem. And this is what was in the very bottom, which is just a fine dirt. And the fuel filter is clean. I don't see any signs of anything in it. I know it's new, but I don't see any lead buildup or anything. I blew through it, it's fine. I put on 2 feet of new fuel line here, because the fuel line that went up into the filter was a different size, because this is the wrong filter. This is not the stock filter, which is no big deal, but there might be a small air gap leak in there. I'm not sure. It may not have anything to do with it. Also, the other thing I've noticed is this is a 4-stroke engine, and it's water cooled, and therefore it's supposed to have oil in it. And the oil is supposed to come up to, see if I can get a better contrast there. The oil is supposed to come up to the top of the mark here, right there, which it's not registering. So I got some 1040 oil, and I'm going to pour it in there and see what happens. Also, I'm going to fill up your antifreeze up to the top level up here on the reservoir tank, and we'll see what happens. And if it's not that, then it's something else. But the springs have been installed, and I've got it to about 28 miles an hour. But it does have that same stalling problem, which I'm just wondering about. Okay, I'm going to reinstall this gas tank.